I play in church, then I would say I'm more of like a beginner intermediate, I would say. So it's a little bit because my playing, I sometimes feel it's a little bit stagnant.
Hmm.
So I've been watching a little bit of your tutorials, the intermediate song breakdowns to advanced one, and how you apply like the 13, the 11s and all that. But the things like sometimes I have a hard time applying that to my own like to a different song. So despite the fact that I'll look at the video and then work that on that song, I sometimes like not sure where to apply that when I'm switching to a different song. And then I just end up using like the same passing chords, for example, like for example, a regular 251 or so I want to like get a little bit to that advanced step. So I'm just wondering. Um,
And this is why I'm a big proponent of when you're learning these new chords, you got to learn them in context, like the why, right? Like, why did you use that chord? Why did you use that passing chord? Because once you learn the why, then you know whether or not you can replicate it across multiple songs. Because if someone shows you some fancy chord in a song and you just learn them, then you're like, well, how do I move these to other songs? You don't know because you didn't learn the context behind why he used them. Now, if you're watching my videos, you're always going to learn the context, right? Now, as I was explaining, I believe to Patricia, to Dee Dee earlier, is not every chord you're going to be able to just lift and use in another song. Because unless the song is the same melody line and chord progression, you can't really use it. Because every song, most songs have different melody structure, different tempo, different pacing. And so we have to tweak things, right? Now, with the 7 types of passing chords that I teach, there's a reason why I picked those 7. Because they can use in most songs, but you still have to tweak them for the song when you understand the concept behind how and why they work. Just like how I demonstrate with the 251 passing earlier. I show you that it's all about the destination chord. Once you know what chord you're trying to get to, there's a strong chance you can do a 251 to get there. But you can't just leave it there. You have to look at the fact that you're also introducing non-diatonic chord tone, and that may or may not clash with the melody. So it becomes an experiment. Every time we're using passing chords, we're experimenting and we're listening. And as I explained earlier, learning the chords, knowing when and what chord to use is just one aspect of the theory. The other part is, how am I going to use it rhythmically? How am I going to displace it within the rhythmic spectrum so it fits? Because sometimes we may have a lot of time or we have a little bit of time to fit this chord in. So we have to play around with the timing. If we go back to that song I was just doing earlier, Every Praise. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. See right there? One accord. I tried to do a 2-5, but I instantly hear that it didn't work. Because I'm playing the C against this B flat. So if I want it to work, I would either need to voice it as a minor 11 by introducing the C. Then I would have every praise, and that sounds smoother to my ear because I changed the quality of the chord. Still a 2-5 passing, but I tweak it. Instead of just a regular minor 7, I play it as a minor 11. So those are the little decisions you have to make. And I'm making those decisions purely based on what it sounds like to my ear. Now I was able to make that decision quickly and find the solution because of experience. But you have to start allowing yourself to say, it didn't work. What? Why? Well, we become problem solvers. So I was able to determine that it didn't work because I can hear it clashing against the melody. So to soften that, I need to play the melody note itself in the chord. In this case, it was the C. So I know, oh, by adding the C, the chord becomes an 11th. So these are the decisions I make, which is why when you see somebody play, without them explaining to you what they're doing, they're choosing notes and voicings and rhythms based on how it works with the melody. And that's the decisions you have to make as well when you're playing. It's not just what chord to play and then you just use it. We then have to go for a step further. If it doesn't sound good, we have to ask ourselves why. And it's usually because it's clashing with something, or it's adding more extra time than is needed to the song. It's usually something that is off. And it's good for us to get into the mode of asking, but why? And see if you can figure out the problem. Because every time you reharmonize a song or you try to use passing chords to a song, we're going to have to tweak stuff. And it's through that trial and error you start to learn why and how to solve those problems. Now, if you're in my program, I have dozens of songs that I've reharmonized, from hymns to CCM to traditional gospel. And so when you go through those, you basically get to see behind the curtain of how I'm making these decisions, and you see them across dozens of songs. So then you can go, okay, after you've gone through all of those, you'd be equipped to then go off and experiment on your own. But sometimes seeing examples and seeing how I work out these things in real time gives you a better way. So now I can take almost any song and reharmonize it and make it sound good.